guys, welcome back to my channel and thanks for joining me. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you my updated barefoot shoe collection. This is part 3 of a sort of new wardrobe series that I've been doing lately, where in part 1 I shared 5 reasons why my wardrobe has actually changed. In part 2, which was a couple of weeks ago, I gave a tour of the actual clothes and the wardrobe itself, and so in part 3 today is all about shoes. I've kept everything separate so that for those of you who are particularly interested in barefoot shoes, you didn't have to watch an entire video relating to clothes. I'm going to briefly discuss the make and model of each pair, but I won't be going into too much detail about them in this video because I've already reviewed most of them on my channel already, so definitely go and check out my previous videos. So let's jump right into it. So before we get started, I just wanted to say something that I've said in many previous videos, and that is that everybody's definition of minimalism is different. So some of you may look at this collection and think that it's not minimalist, that I've got lots of different pairs and different designs and colours, but to me this is very minimalist. So in a previous life I would have owned 30, 40 plus pairs of conventional, mainstream, unethical, poor quality, cheap shoes, and so this to me is really reduced in size. I may be adding a few more pairs to this collection. If I do, I'm going to be selling some of them, but I'm also going to forgive myself if I add a pair or two to what I already have here. So I just wanted to say that everybody's idea of minimalism and goal is different, but for me personally, this is most definitely a minimalist shoe collection. So I'm hoping that the lighting is going to behave in this video. I have had a few issues with lighting in the past. I don't have any fancy equipment, so I do apologise in advance if the lighting dips in and out. But I'm just going to get started with describing the collection in general. So all of these shoes on these 3 rows are all from the brand VIVOBAREFOOT, and they were all purchased on the Revivo website. So Revivo is a sister company that basically refreshes, refurbishes, repairs old lines or models that were previously on the VIVOBAREFOOT new website, and also customer returns of shoes that are no longer wearable. All of the shoes, or the sandals, sorry, that are on the bottom row, which I'll move out of the way towards the end of the video so that I can show them to you, they were all purchased new. I have 3 pairs from Fieldgrounds and 1 pair from Zero Shoes. So I've also done a video in the past about Revivo, so I won't go into too much more detail about them today in this video, and I'll link that up here or here and down in the description box for you to go and check that one out. So yeah, all of these shoes were second hand basically. They were all refurbished to varying different conditions and grades of condition, which I will probably do another video about in the future, as that has been requested by some of you. So I'm just going to get started with this first pair. I have written down all of them just to make sure that I get the names of the models right for you. So this is the Tracker Hi FG. I bought this pair a couple of months ago to replace the standard Tracker FGs that I had previously. They had, which I'll try and pop a photo up on the screen so that you can see them. They had red laces, red logo detail, they were shorter, hence these are called high, and they were just generally a different sort of brown, and I much prefer the look of these. I love that all the logo detailing is brown. I like the higher ankle. I just prefer the style of them in general. So yeah, these were, I think, in good condition. I can't remember the condition of all of them, so I'm probably not going to bore you too much trying to remember that in this video, but yes, the Tracker Hi FG, I really like these. I'm really happy with the condition of them and the colour in general. Moving on here to the Magna FG. So these were also a replacement for a pair that I owned a couple of months ago, which I did a video on my channel, I think, yeah, a couple of months ago now. So that was the Magna Forest-esque in botanical green. That video was really quite successful to my surprise, so I'm really grateful to all of you who tuned in for that one. So that's what those have replaced. These have replaced those. So this is the Magna FG. So the Magna Forest-esque, again, because I've already reviewed them, I won't go into too much detail about them. I found them a little bit too rigid. I found the cleats or the sole a little bit too sturdy. They were for much more different terrains than what I was using them for, so I didn't feel I was getting enough use out of them. Whereas this Magna FG is a lot more supple. It's a lot more of a basic shoe. The tread is the generic VIVOBAREFOOT FG tread, so FG, much like these, stands for firm ground, tends to be the sole that they use for most of their walking and outdoorsy sort of hiking shoes or boots. The thing I love the most about these is the elasticated cuff or ankle sleeve. It means you don't have to touch the laces. Really easy to slip on and off. These, I'll be honest, is probably one of my most comfortable pairs. They literally feel like slippers. I feel much happier that I've sort of replaced the Magna Esques with these. They were in quite a low grade condition, so they're looking quite worn and the colours sort of fading, but I was super happy with the condition nonetheless. They were a lot cheaper than especially anything you'd buy new, but also cheaper than my Magna Esque. Thankfully I managed to recover the money from them and bought these, so yes, the Magna FG. And then moving on here, I have the Gobi Hi tops. So these are fleece lined. I'm hoping that you can see that in the video. They're just a generic sole, so VIVOBAREFOOT's fairly basic. I would say they're in between soles, so it's not their most smoothest, most basic sole, but it's also not the sort of outdoorsy tread. They're just a fairly standard black pair of, I'd say, smart casual boots. I will be honest, I don't love them as much as my other shoes, and from the day that I bought them, I was never massively in love with them either. So I am going to be selling these after this video, much like other pairs that I've sold on eBay already, and I'm going to be using that money towards a new pair from the brand Ahinza, I think it's called that. So they do a really nice generic black boot again, but with a zip, which would be really convenient for me, a little bit higher in the ankle. But something I have noticed is the Ahinzas seem to have a wider toe box, which as my barefoot journey progresses, I feel as though my toes, which I would hope, having invested this much in this collection, are slightly widening, and my foot shape is hopefully regaining a more natural shape. So I'm beginning to feel that some Vivos are a little bit narrow in the toe box compared to other brands. So by the way, this video is not sponsored. None of my videos have ever been sponsored by VIVOBAREFOOT. These are all purchased with my own hard-earned, saved money. So yeah, whilst I'm biased by VIVOBAREFOOT, I also think that it's good to look around at other brands. It's becoming a lot more popular now, and a lot more brands are making barefoot shoes or zero drop shoes with wide toe boxes. So yeah, I do like them. They're just a generic sort of smart casual black pair of boots, but I have my eye on the Ahinzas, which I think I will like a lot more. So yeah, this is the Gobi Hi top. Okay, so over here, this I think is my most recent purchase, and this is the Geo Chelsea in tan. So I am in love with these shoes. I can't tell you how long I waited to try and find a barefoot replacement for brown boots that I used to wear in a previous life. I couldn't have a wardrobe without brown boots in them. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I have sort of the same handful of colours in everything that I wear, so I tend to wear autumnal earthy colours, and the same goes for my shoes. So these were a definite must, staple piece in my wardrobe. This is a new style, because moving on in a minute you may be able to see these that look almost identical, but this is their new Geo model, I guess we could call it. I also have another Geo pair here, which of course I'll talk about in a minute, and I'm just really liking this design. I like the way that the sole sort of curves a little bit here, but it's nothing too exaggerated. They're quite simple looking. They're basically exactly everything I could have wanted from a brown smart casual pair of boots. The sole is smoother, so I think, so it's not quite the same as these. These hexagons are bigger, whereas these, the imprints or the markings in these are a lot smaller, but again, very smooth, nothing sort of sturdy like these cleats, for example. But yes, so this is the Geo Chelsea in tan, again refurbished. I have noticed something on the soles though, where they've started to sort of fade in lines, which would make sense with them being on here, except I've just brought this shoe rack out for the purpose of the video. I actually keep them under my clothes rails, so I'm not quite sure how that's happened, because it's almost like they've been exposed to the sun in a non-uniform sort of way. So the soles have faded, which does worry me. They were originally this browner tan colour here, I hope that you can see, and they've sort of gone almost white, which I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about that, because I haven't actually got round to wearing these yet because of the weather. So that may be something I need to raise with Revivo. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, whether I'm just going to leave them and put up with it how it is. But yes, that is the Geo Chelsea. Okay, so moving on, we have another pair of fairly identical boots to these, and this is the Fulham. So these are the dark brown Fulham, very basic shoe. These were sort of, I guess, the older version of what they've brought out here. I think these are my most comfortable pair, and the reason I've kept hold of them, even though I have virtually an identical pair here, is because they're so comfortable that I'm really reluctant to sort of give that up, if that makes sense. All Vivo barefoot shoes, in my opinion, or most of them, are really comfortable and, of course, synonymous to what a barefoot shoe should do. But these are particularly comfortable. These are like you've got nothing on your feet, basically, like you're walking on clouds. You can barely feel that you've got them on. They're nice and wide and supple and super, super lightweight, possibly more so compared to the others. So I'm really reluctant to give up a pair that's really comfortable just because I have another pair that's the same. So I'm thinking of sort of dedicating these to more outdoorsy wear. So whilst there isn't a huge grip on these, it's again the generic sole that you have on the Gobi Highs. So it's not the firm ground tread like you've got on these walking boots. Personally, I've never had any issues with slipping or grip wearing Vivo barefoot shoes, so I'm thinking of just sort of moving these over to my outdoorsy set of boots, if that makes sense. So these can now become my smart pair, and then these I'm sure will do absolutely fine for not rigorous walking, but yeah, just forest walks or sort of countryside park walks or that kind of thing, where I don't mind getting them muddy, but they're also not hiking boots at the same time. So yes, this is the Fulham. Moving on now to the Geo Race Knit. So this is the only pair of sporty, active shoes, I guess you could call them, that I own. The thing I love the most, much like the Magna FGs, it's not as high of a knitted ankle sleeve or cuff, but it does have a really nice supple knitted effect around there. Again, don't need to touch the laces, makes them really easy to slip on and off. They're super comfortable. These are very, very lightweight. These are Vivo's signature basic sole. Sorry, they're a bit dirty. Yeah, I'm not massively in love with the colour. They don't really align with the earthy autumnal colours that seem to dominate my wardrobe, but I may swap them out. I'm not quite sure yet. I have my eye on a green pair potentially, but as with all shoes on Revivo, you have to wait for them to come in your size. So yes, this is the Geo Race Knit, very comfortable, super easy to wear. Yeah, just a basic sort of athletic sporty shoe. So moving on to the Geo Court III. These are possibly my favourite pair of shoes in terms of style and look. So again, much like the Geo Chelsea booties here, I've been waiting for a pair of tan pumps forever to replace those that I owned in a previous life. So I have another style of the Geo Courts here as well, which I'll show you in a minute, but this is the most recent, so Geo Court III in tan. I'm just in love with them. I love sort of how simple and kind of rustic they are. I really love this sole. So again, it's the same sole as these. Again, the bottom does seem to have faded in the same way, which hasn't happened with any of the other shoes that I own. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, seeing as I really like this new Geo model. But yeah, they've got a little Vivo Barefoot emblem there, logo there. They're just very basic, but I really, really love them. Love the brown laces. They go with everything. So yeah, Geo Court III. Moving on now to the Addis. So I've had these for a really long time. I reviewed them right at the beginning of my barefoot shoe journey. These are actually a junior size 6, and I talk all about that in the video where I've reviewed them already. I am considering, much like I said about these black Gobis, I am considering swapping these out. I bought some toe socks recently, which I'll be doing a whole video about with toe spacers and all that kind of thing in the future. But I've noticed that with the toe socks on, these rub in the little pinky toe side. So that's a bit of a worry for me. I think that with the way my feet have probably, and hopefully my toes have widened over the course of the journey, I think even though it was a great bargain at the time, finding a child's pair that fit me, I think that probably it's time for me to invest in a slightly wider pair or an adult pair. So yeah, these are brilliant though. They're very comfortable, very supple. I find the design quite quirky and a little bit unusual. So yes, this is the Addis in botanical green, which I may also be swapping out in the future. And then finally, in terms of shoes, because we'll get on to sandals in a minute, we've got the Geo Court II. So that was the Geo Court III, and this is the Geo Court II in limestone. So it's sort of an off-white, slightly cream colour. These are not my favourite shoes, but I have kept hold of them because they go with everything in my wardrobe. They're comfortable, they're really easy to wear, they're really easy to mix and match with all sorts of different outfits, but I find them a little bit too sporty looking. So the sole rises slightly higher here, it's got little ridges. I mean, we're only talking very small details, but because they're comfortable and obviously VIVOBAREFOOT shoes, aren't cheap, I don't necessarily just want to swap them out for something unless I find something that's pretty perfect as an alternative. So I'm keeping hold of them for now. They are, like I said, just a generic sort of pump with the indented logo here. They're quite similar to the 3. I just feel like I prefer the lower sole here. They just, I don't know, there's a logo on the back there, whereas I feel like these ridges make them look a bit too sporty for me personally. But like I said, they go with everything that I own. So at the moment, I'm not looking to swap them out, and I'm not sure how much I want a bright white pair of sort of generic pumps. So this sort of off-white works quite well for my wardrobe. So yeah, the Geo Court II. And so finally down here, we're going to look at sandals. So these are from the brand Zero Shoes. I have reviewed these already, so I won't go into too much detail about them. These come in the brown colour, and they come in black as well, and I think other colours as well. Very, very comfortable, extremely thin soles. I'm hoping that you can see that. Very flexible, major flexibility. Even the heel, which is quite unusual. Nice, easy strap design. These are my outdoorsy walking pair, so I would use these for travelling to Southeast Asia, for example, or outdoorsy walking when the weather is really hot. I wouldn't necessarily use these for smart wear, but yeah, these are the Zero. I completely forgot to say the model. These are the Z-Trek. And then the last 3 pairs are all from Fieldgrounds, and they're all Seaside. The Seaside model. So this is the Luxe Seaside model, and then these 2 pairs are the Twill Seaside model. So they're a cotton fabric strap as opposed to the vegan faux leather straps on these basically. So these are in the colour sienna, basically a tan. I keep these for smart wear. And then the Twill versions is just for sort of everyday casual wear. Sorry, I have to excuse the discoloured cork from my feet, which I think is normal. But yeah, the cork sole I really love. These are very flexible. Again, brilliant make. Fieldgrounds are a European brand, so I don't purchase from them as often, well, clearly as often as I purchase from VIVOBAREFOOT, just because of shipping. But yeah, they're very comfortable. I'm always a bit unsure about having like 3 pairs with the thingy in between the toe separator thing, but they've never rubbed me. I've worn particularly these black ones in my previous job where I worked in a zero waste shop, where I was on my feet all day, lots of moving around and physically demanding, and I wore these all day and they never once rubbed. So they're brilliant. They're super thin soles. Flexible, lightweight, comfortable, yeah, pretty much everything you would want from a pair of sandals. So there you have it. I hope this video hasn't gone on for too long. I always say I try to keep my videos short and then my nerves get the better of me and I end up talking more rather than the opposite. So I am grateful if you have come all the way to the end of the video. Make sure, of course, to give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and of course to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments section, as always, if there's anything else you'd like to know. I do my absolute best to get back to everybody's comments as quickly as possible. I really love chatting to you and I really love hearing about your experiences as well. In the meantime, take care and stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.